In a seismic security breach representing one of the most treacherous acts of betrayal in the modern royal family's history, Prince Harry was arrested today by British intelligence on charges of illegally leaking highly classified government communications as part of an incendiary disinformation campaign aimed at smearing his own brother's reputation, potentially undermining the entire succession plan for the monarchy itself. The stunning developments unfolded rapidly after analytical cybersecurity teams monitoring internet traffic discovered an insidious data dump of stolen classified files across the dark web late last night, all conspicuously customized to erode public confidence in Prince William's future fitness to lead as king. An emergency multi-agency probe involving MI5 Domestic Counterintelligence, GCHQ's app tracking specialists, and Scotland Yard's Counter-Cyber-Crimes Division immediately commenced tracing the leak's malicious roots. But the true culprit's identity purportedly revealed itself almost immediately thanks to a phony digital fingerprint comically left unredacted by whomever orchestrated the data manipulation, one implicating Harry himself as the audacious saboteur. Our nation's civilian cybersecurity apparatus first picked up on the seemingly disparate threads of the intelligence exfiltration around midnight after numerous encrypted archives began appearing on several shadowy internet relay nodes routinely exploited by hacktivist collectives and cyber-terrorist actors, explained Sir Dermot Callington, a high-ranking intelligence liaison coordinating the government's multi-pronged investigation. While initially categorized as a potential foreign adversary's attempt to compromise national security by weaponizing disinformation tactics against the Crown's future lineage, digital forensics teams were able to rapidly deduce the theft and modified leak originated domestically from within Frogmore Cottage itself, Prince Harry's secured private residence on the Windsor estate. According to incident reports, the first indication of foul play defying routine electronic threats emerged when Windsor Castle's network security operations detected terabytes of sensitive data being surreptitiously copied and exfiltrated through an external hard drive connection originating within Harry's private IT networks. However, rather than encrypting the stolen communication archives for Bitcoin-motivated ransom demands like most criminal hackers now prefer, the compromised files were instead repackaged alongside a Byzantine labyrinth of sophisticated coding manipulation designed to transform numerous historic electronic paper trails into perceiving the Prince of Wales as an incompetent bully and vain abuser of power. Damning examples include private cabinet emails and transcribed meetings doctored to depict William making numerous racist and inflammatory remarks about immigrants as well as Commonwealth dignitaries behind closed doors. Archived cell phone records and chat logs were maliciously tampered with to accuse him of badgering ministers with angry tirades about economic policies and physical intimidation against political rivals. At one particularly extreme point, the stolen Ministry of Defense files were even deceptively edited to fabricate William as extorting payoffs from military suppliers and urging disloyal hardliners to mutiny against the Crown based on his supposed future bloodline usurpation. To say our analysts were aghast at the incredibly incendiary accusations interwoven into the stolen files would be a massive understatement, continued Sir Dermot in describing the unprecedented violation enveloping Buckingham Palace in crisis. Outright attacks on His Majesty the King. Claims of intolerance directly contradicting every known facet of William's humanitarian service record. Shockingly transcribed threats of violence utterly incongruous with the very pillars of stable, noble conduct the royal family represents to Great Britain and larger Commonwealth. This was truly diabolical treachery carefully calculated to obliterate public faith in the hereditary succession itself. However, the digital forensic spoor tracing the sabotaging machinations left unmistakable signatures identifying the duplicitous infiltrator as none other than Harry himself. Analytical teams were further able to isolate the rogue IP address responsible for strategically disseminating the compromised data repositories across dark web channels, which had been intentionally routed through the Duke of Sussex's encrypted outbound tunnel appended with what analysts believe was an ill-conceived attempt at a clumsy taunting personal signature, THSSTRUTHFORDNASBUREDVOICE. Between blatantly forged references to late Princess Diana's alleged silenced plight woven into these spurious files alongside the childish taunting digital fingerprint left behind, we were rather taken aback at just how transparent Harry's execution was compromised from the onset, Sir Dermot continued. It's quite the chilling glimpse into the unbalanced depths of envious and delusionary axe-grinding justifying such a cavalier betrayal of countrymen in the throes of cyber-extremist indoctrination. With digital evidence linking the treasonous leak back to Harry mounting, a highly trained counter-terrorist specialist firearms team of nearly 40 SAS commandos was swiftly deployed under extreme prejudice to conduct a surgical raid on Frogmore Cottage by 4 a.m., taking the rogue prince into custody while he was reportedly still scrambling to further proliferate more deceptively curated materials to widespread media outlets willing to amplify his malign attacks against the crown. We knew those bloody fools at Archwell and HRBX were far too self-important to let this festering animosity lie, but I don't think a single one of us ever imagined they'd sink to biting the very sovereign hand protecting their privilege like this, fumed one high-ranking Windsor equerry coordinating operational details as CTSFG teams descended on the Sussex estate. Mobilizing elite counter-terrorism strike capabilities against a fallen duke, one of our own blood, over suspected crimes essentially amounting to high treason was a grim beyond description. But if you take up arms against the realm itself through asymmetrical cyber warfare seeking to undermine stability, you've crossed the Rubicon with which any institution of state must reckon decisively. On-site photos and testimonials from responders at Frogmore Cottage describe Harry resisting arrest with extreme force once SAS teams made their presence known, battering through the residence's perimeters. He allegedly attacked operatives with improvised blunt weapons and temporary chemical irritants designed to blind the unit and facilitate an escape. At least one commando was reported struck across the temple with a laptop, while others endured corneal burns of unknown substances before the 38-year-old renegade could be fully subdued under restraints and physically removed from the premises. I've had IEDs detonate mere feet from my patrol before while deployed to Helmand. Can't say today's chaotic non-combatant apprehension rated anywhere close, recounted SAS Sergeant Jack Tammer, who confirmed numerous hand-to-hand scuffles erupted as Harry grew increasing erratic once isolated. But there's definitely no shaking that visceral body shot of disbelief witnessing an HRH wildly lashing out with such violent force while clearly untethered from rational bounds. While the physical fallout from the Frogmore raid resulted in a handful of minor injuries, the long-term sovereign impact upon Great Britain's very own is drastically more uncertain. In the hours since, the entire British government apparatus has been thrown into disarray, mustering an all-out crisis response typically reserved for successful foreign coups d'états or outright declarations of war between rival powers. An emergency summit on potential succession contingencies was hastily convened at 10 Downing Street by the Prime Minister alongside the King, Prince William, ranking military advisors, and Commonwealth government stakeholders. And as Royal Marines descended on enhancing physical security around royal residences, all palace communications channels were placed on restrictive lockdown while internal investigations intensified regarding just how compromised the sovereign lineage remains from fallout of the leaked documents. Make no mistake, the severity of the situation before us is grave beyond modernity, British Prime Minister Richard Stokes somberly announced in nationally televised statement hours later after being briefed on key investigation findings. No such systematic attack aimed at eroding the monarchy's very foundations has surfaced since descendants of James VII last sought its overthrow from exile 3 centuries ago, when a single bad actor, particularly one of ancestral blood and supposed honor, opts to turn against the state itself in such a nefarious, malicious way. No option can be off the table to preserve constitutional rule of law at its core. Across royal watchers and experts piecing together the motivations behind such an anarchic escalation from the 38-year-old Duke, prevailing theories seem to point toward an explosive manifestation of long-standing resentment toward William stemming from jealousy over future crown accession being preordained since birth, coupled with still unraveling threads of outside influence stemming from the Sussex camp's years-long alliance with anti-monarchist factions in America seeking vengeance.